This channel is only for entertainment, as if the rain still floated silently in the atmosphere. The trees near the forest swayed slowly, and the half-hidden stars in the sky looked as if they too were scared of the dense darkness. Arav had come to visit his grandmother's house, an old wooden cottage built on the edge of the forest, whose walls seemed to breathe old stories and untold secrets. A little distance away was a pond, completely still, yet strangely alive, as if a pair of invisible eyes were watching from beneath the surface. That night, after dinner, Arav was sitting in his room. The old flickering lamp on the table spread a dim yellow glow, casting soft shadows across his grandmother's wrinkled face. "Grandma, this place, this cottage feels too silent, as if someone is watching us. Why does this forest feel different? Something old, something strange." Looked at him quietly. "People here say one should never go near the pond at night." "Come on, Grandma. It's just a forest. A little wind, a little darkness. Nothing to be scared of. Tell me the truth. Are you hiding something? Some old story? Something strange, something scary? There are many stories, child. But some stories must be spoken carefully, because their words and their effect linger in the air. Why are you talking like this? What is it about this place? We thought this was just a normal cottage," she whispered. "This pond, this forest, this is not normal. There is something in the soil and the water here, something that never sleeps." "What do you mean?" "Sometimes, at night, the sound of a woman crying is heard." "A woman crying? Who?" "You're too young. You may not understand. But the people here know she never left. Her pain, her curse still lives here." Arav leaned closer. "Tell me a ghost story, Grandma." "I will. But remember one thing until the story ends. No one gets up from here, or the consequences will not be good." "Okay, this story is famous," Grandma began softly. "The story of La Llorona. But it is not just a story. It is a curse. Her crying still echoes in the wind. Long ago, in a small village, lived a woman named Maria. Her life was filled with happiness, a loving husband, 2 small children, and a peaceful home. But happiness is always the first to leave. Her husband's heart drifted toward another woman, rich, beautiful, arrogant, greedy. Slowly, he abandoned Maria and the children. Maria begged, she cried. But one day he walked away forever. Her heart didn't just break, it shattered. She stopped eating, talking, living. She spent hours staring at flowing water, rivers, lakes, as if she saw her own sorrow in the depths. One night, broken beyond repair, Maria took her children to the riverside. Tears ran down her face, and madness had clouded her eyes. "Mother, we're scared," the children cried, clutching her hands. But she was no longer a mother, just a shattered soul burning with rage and despair. And then she pushed her own children into the cold, black water. Their screams still echo across that riverbank. "Mom, save us." But Maria's heart had turned to stone when the water went still, and the moon appeared from behind the clouds. Realization struck her like a dagger. What had she done? She screamed. She cried. She plunged into the river, but it was too late. Her children were gone. Forever. Maria's final scream was so horrifying that the entire riverside trembled. Villagers said it wasn't a human scream. It was her soul tearing apart. Days later, Her body was found near the shore, but the villagers knew she hadn't died. She had been cursed. People began hearing a woman crying near the river at night, dressed in wet white clothes, with long black hair covering her face. Her voice sliced through the cold air. "I miss my children, I miss my children," called her La Llorona, the weeping woman. She could never find her children. She wandered endlessly and eventually began taking other children, mistaking them for her own. Anyone who heard her cry was doomed. And worse, if someone called her name, she appeared instantly, soaked blue skin, hollow eyes, a voice colder than death. Some souls aren't just cursed, they become the curse. Maria La Llorona became a terror that never ends, even today. Her cries drift with the night wind across ponds, rivers, forests, into the ears of anyone foolish enough to go near. Grandma fell silent. Fear flickered faintly in her eyes, as if she herself had heard that cry once. Arev felt a sudden chill brush against his cheek, as if an icy hand had passed by. But he burst into laughter. "Nice story, Grandma. But this is all nonsense. These things don't exist." He picked up his phone, switched on the flashlight, and walked toward the balcony. The white beam briefly lit up the trees near the pond from behind him. Grandma watched his silhouette. Her eyes held a quiet fear, as if she knew something terrible was about to happen. "Don't go near the pond," she whispered. "She wakes at night." The room suddenly felt heavier. Arev smirked. "Fine. Tomorrow I'll go near the pond myself and call her." He laughed again. Grandma lowered her head, unable to speak. Just then, the wind outside grew stronger. The window rattled, and from the direction of the pond came a faint whisper, as if someone was crying far away. Grandma removed her glasses. Her fingers trembled. She heard her name again. She murmured. It was midnight. Everyone in the house was asleep. Everyone except Arev. Grandma's voice echoed in his ears. He slowly moved the blanket aside and stepped out of bed. His heels touched the cold wooden floor. It creaked sharply. He froze, afraid someone might wake up. But no one stirred. Quietly, he opened the door outside. The air felt strange, heavy, watching. The pond was not far. Arev didn't bother turning on the flashlight. He walked slowly, cautiously, until he stood at the water's edge. He whispered, "La Llorona, where are you?" No answer. Only the wind with a smirk. He called out louder, "I miss my children." The pond rippled violently. Circular waves spread across the black surface, as if someone had struck the water from below. Arev's smile faded. Something dark, something shadowy, slid beneath the surface. His heart stopped for a second. He forced a laugh to hide his fear. He turned to leave. But suddenly the wind roared. Trees shook wildly. The pond churned again, this time violently, and from deep within the forest came the sound of a woman crying. Soft, slow, heartbreaking. Then a cold whisper brushed his ear. Arev froze. Every hair on his neck stood on end. He turned. A white figure stood behind him, thin, tall, clothes torn and dripping wet. Water dripped from her fingertips onto the ground. Her long black hair was plastered to her face. Her eyes were not visible, but beneath them were deep, hollow black pits. The woman was crying. She raised her hand and gestured for him to come closer. RF stepped back in terror. The face, those eyes, empty, dark. He wanted to scream, to run, but his lips were frozen. His voice stuck in his throat like a stone. In the next moment, she grabbed him and dragged him into the water. The pond splashed violently, then fell silent. As if nothing had ever happened, Grandma stood by the window, looking at the pond through the curtain. Her face had no shock, no fear, only a tired sadness. When elders warn us, she whispered, they speak from experience. Mocking La Llorona, calling her name, cost RF his life. Remember, never call her name. Friends, our new short film is coming soon. Here's a little glimpse of it. Who were you talking to on the phone so late? I don't know. I mean, do we always have to meet at night? Girlfriend, why are you sweating so much?